played pretty well considering this was our first outing in new offense, new defense, and special teams. Proud of our players, proud of our coaches, really proud of our strength coaches, our conditioning guys. Our players just gave them a standing ovation. Very concerned about going to this game because we didn't let off of them until about 3 days ago. We grinded them and in camp and even this week running and lifting and trying to get ready for this game and this weather. And we held up pretty good. It was very hot on the turf. One thing you learn about that is you learn about focus. And we didn't have a penalty until 6 minutes to go in the game. And that means that somebody's listening and concentrating each and every play and not making the silly mistakes. So that was a big lesson for our guys. And I thought that we held our composure well. But overall, it was a team effort. We've got a lot of film now to look at and try to get better. You usually get better more from your first game and your second game. And so we'll spend a lot of time looking at what everybody's done. And we had a chance to play a lot of people. Played a lot of guys, got them on the field, got them on film. There was a lot of nervous players out there, a lot of nervous coaches, and not knowing what to expect. But it was a balanced game. That's what we wanted. I told Eddie before we started, I'd love to run more than we throw at the end of the game, and we did that. We want to be balanced. There's going to be games where we're going to throw a lot more than that for what people will start doing to us now that they know what we run, and that'll open the pass up a little bit more. So proud of all the players and everybody involved, and proud of the fans for coming out in this hot weather. We had a huge crowd, and that was important every week, for this program, for us to continue to take a step forward. And so hopefully that what they saw they liked, and they'll be back here in a couple of weeks and keep cheering these guys on. We'll have a night game the next time we play here, so hopefully we get a lot more people out and be a little cooler. But again, it's take my hat off to the fans here because it was a long and hot day. Questions?
You said that the questions were answered in a lot of areas, but what questions did Munchie answer?
Well, we go into the game, and the reason we started Munchie is because we go back and look at the last 8 days. He'd taken a lot more snaps with the first group, the center. The timing was probably a little bit better with Munchie. We could have easily gone with Brandon, but we felt like just for the sake of the team in terms of the focus of taking all those snaps with the first team that we figured we'd go with Munchie. And he made some great decisions. I look at the decisions, the passing and all those other things will come. He made one mistake. He made the mistake in the end zone. He had a guy open on his second read, and he didn't get off his first read, and he threw the first read. And that's when the guy intercepted in the end zone. So lesson learned, and he knew it immediately when he threw it. And as long as he understands that and doesn't make the same mistake, then he's going to have a chance to get better and better. But again, we'll continue to have competition between him and Brandon. Brandon's getting a lot more healthier now. He was probably about 90%, and it's good to have that competition. It's good to have two guys that you feel like you can go to. And the players have tremendous respect for both of them, and they believe in both of them, which means a lot more than what I think, because they're the ones that's got to get the job done.
It's essentially a tie game until right before halftime. What can you pinpoint that really broke it open for you in the second half?
I think we just built confidence in our passing game. We didn't throw the ball down the field as much first quarter and a half. We ran a couple of different formations in the last drive that we scored to get the 7-point lead. And that was good to see our offense respond. We just made a terrible mistake. McClung made a terrible mistake in trying to catch it over his shoulder, be an outfielder, and you don't do that. Again, he learned his lesson from that. All we had to do is get the ball back. We got a 7-point lead with a few minutes to go in half, and we possibly go up 14. But again, I was proud of the offense bouncing back and taking control of that drive and going down and scoring. And it was a great call by Eddie on the tight end down the middle because they were they were doubling the outside guys, singling inside receiver, and a good throw, good catch by Munchie.
How important was that goal line stand after Munchie's first interception? Did that switch momentum back to you pretty quickly?
Oh yeah. That's concerning. We put our defense in a bind that first half. They had their back to the wall several times, but we made some good plays. There were probably a couple of guys that would love to call a couple of interceptions that they had thrown to them, but big play early on the interception, and again we turned around and gave it right back to them. And those are character builders. Those are team builders where you have to learn. This is a team sport. and like we told the defense when we went into halftime, those are gonna happen. You gotta step up and get the ball back. And, we stopped them. We made the fourth down stop. Then they missed a third down stop, and they missed a field goal. And I thought that was huge for the defense to get a little bit of confidence, knowing that they were able to get in a sudden change situation and be able to keep no points off the board.
You're able to use Abernathy a bunch of different ways. Obviously, it's important to get him some touches, including running between the tackles and different things. How do you foresee him to continue to be used as you progress through the season?
Well, that's good. Ralph he's a guy that has zero fat on his body. And so this is not a day for a guy that's all lean, because you lose your fluids a lot quicker. And his leg ran out of gas because he goes hard every play. But he's a guy we want to get the ball to outside and one-on-one, because you can't tackle him one-on-one. I don't care who they put out there. And he's also made himself a better inside runner in our power game. He made the touchdown where there was really nowhere to go, and he bounced it outside and made the big play down in the end zone. I forget what, I think it made the 21 points. But again, he's a special guy. Players respect him. He gives it all in every practice. And I knew that he'd run out of gas, because you can't ask him to go half speed in a walkthrough. I mean, he doesn't know that speed. The only thing he knows is go full speed, and they all respect him for that. But he's going to have some help as we go. And saw a little bit out of Jose. I thought Tion Green did a good job, made a couple mistakes in his handoffs and his reads, and not seeing an end come down where he's got to take the ball outside. But I thought for the first game, the running backs did a good job as a group, and it's going to be that way all year long.
Coach, when did you decide to go with Munchie, and when did he learn that?
Last night. We sat down and talked last night, and just figured, again, going back to the timing, going with the first team center, and the guys knowing he can run the whole offense. Now, if either player had been behind on the offense, whether it had been Munchie or Brandon, it had been easy. The other one would have gone. But they both know the offense. They both can run it. And everybody says that we're going to run just a certain offense from Munchie. I mean, he's very good in this pro-style offense. Munchie is. He's very good in play action. He does a great job with his fakes, carries the fakes out. He understands, being able to get out of a play when they're bringing somebody off the corner, getting it back over there to block him. And both these guys are going to get better and better. Again, this is the first game running a totally new offense, all new terminology, all new reads, and they put up quite a few points against a Big Ten team. And so I was very impressed with the entire team. I expected they knew how to win the game, but I didn't know what to expect from how we would react to situations, and very impressed with that.
You essentially have two starting quarterbacks. Is there any benefit ever to you publicly naming a starter before the fact?
That's a good question. We thought about that. And again, we'll go to practice this week, and we'll look at what Kay did in his plays. I don't know how many he got. He probably got 20, 25 snaps. And we'll look at the team that we're playing, the type of personnel that they have. A lot of it will probably depend on that. We could very well start another quarterback next week. Again, just how we practice, because we've got to figure out now, what this offense is about, how well they know it. We're not going to go out there and go series by series. I'm not going to do that. Whoever starts it's his ball, and we'll just have to compete every week and see where we go.
You mentioned that you did that against a Big Ten team. Does that mean anything to you guys? You have another one next week that you start with two Big Ten teams, with confidence of the state, of the fans, of the nation, or anything?
Well, that's a pretty good challenge. Just put Babcock back there when he hired me. Didn't quite tell me we opened up with two Big Ten teams when I took the job. I found that out the next day. We know we're playing guys that have good players. It's good competition. That team last year played the bowl game, but they had a new coach, and we didn't really know what to expect. We practiced against a lot of things, and a lot of things they ran were not even close to what we prepared for. So it was good defensively that we were able to adjust on the run. I mean, that's going to be huge for our team to be able to look at this film and say, hey, I think I did the right thing, but when we get tomorrow, they look at it, did they make the right adjustment? So they were thinking as well as playing out there. It just wasn't going out there and getting after it. I don't know if you noticed, we started playing faster and more confident starting in about the middle of the second quarter. Our defense looked a little tight because, again, they were out there lining up going, am I in the right spot? Because they were moving people. They ran three and two tight ends a lot, and then bringing 3 or 4 wide receivers. It was a very good game for us to have to line up to, and without their coaches out there getting them lined up before the snap. I'm sure we made a lot of mistakes, in alignment, adjustments, but this is going to be an excellent film to be able to look at and say, this is why you did this and shouldn't have done this, but, it'd be great learning.
Tom, it was 7-7, like 3 minutes ago in the first half. You're leading 14-7 at halftime. Did you expect the second half was going to be tight, or just your team played so well that it didn't surprise you how much the game got up?
Look at our guys walking around in the dressing room at halftime, and our guys are in good shape. They're fired up, ready to go. It's hot. It's real hot. And I felt like going into this game that the team that ran the ball the best would win. You can't go out there and expect your defense to play 80, 90 snaps. We wanted to keep our defense off the field, their defense on the field, and just grind it out 3 or 4 yards at a time. And it worked well for us. Again, it might not always. And so we didn't open it up for a while because of that. And I thought the last drive of the halftime really set the precedent for going in. And then we were getting the ball back. Then we drive down and score again. 14 points in about 3 minutes was really helped us. Our 2 worst drives of the game, I thought, were the second and third drive of the third quarter, which we just looked a little out of sync. It looked like we were trying to get too much. We were a little bit antsy, trying to put the killer instinct out there instead of just playing the same things we've been playing. And we tried to play a little bit fast and made a couple of mistakes, and that's going to be a good thing to learn from.
Did you get game balls from your first wins at your other 3 stops? Did you get one today? And if so, what do you do with them?
Who, me?
Yeah.
If I get game balls?
Yeah.
My wife complains every time that we've moved about, what do we do with all these balls? Quit bringing those things home. But I've got a lot of them that I cherish, and most of them are from teams that I've been with that, there was a first successful game. I'd rather give the game ball to the players. They earned it. We're just excited that they responded for what we've been asking to do, because it had been fun for them. Today was fun, and I saw a lot of smiles on their faces, and I saw something in their eyes. I thought at halftime that they'll make us a pretty good team as we go along. You don't see that very often, but these kids love to play, and they love to play and play hard, and they love to play for Cincinnati. And I think that's huge. They know how to win. 51 wins in the last 56 games. Is that right, Kyle?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Kyle.
You're welcome.
You got to be ready, guys. That's a lot of wins, guys. A lot of wins.
You don't have any individual standouts in any category on here. How does that help the coaching staff as a teaching point, the team concept going from week 1 to week 2?
Yeah, it's always good to have a bell cow, and that's what I call it. But we don't have one. We're going to be by committee all year long, whether it's receivers, running backs. I would say we probably would come closer to having one on defense, with Blair or somebody like that. But offensively, it's going to be one of those where we're going to just execute, get the most out of it every snap, and don't look back, look forward, and try to be consistent. We focused today, and we were consistent. I think that was the theme of this whole game. We never lost our poise. When we fumbled that ball and they scored 7-7, we took it down, and we looked like a good football team on that drive. And then the next drive, we did the same thing, first drive, third quarter. So that impressed me as a guy standing over watching these guys work for the last 8 months, and very impressed with their character.
You talk about your front 7, the defensive line especially. You were rotating guys in every 3 or 4 plays, but no matter who was in there, it seemed like those guys really did a nice job controlling the point of attack.
Yeah, we're fortunate to have some depth on defense because of the recruiting that some of these guys did when we first got here. And we're only getting better and better. Some guys played the first time they played in a college football game on this level, but they played to the tempo that we wanted them to. And we don't have to play defensive line with 50, 60 snaps. Some of them last year never came out of the game. We're not gonna do that. I want them to be fresh and come off the field, and another guy go in their place, gotta get a drink of water, get his legs back, get his breath back, get back in there. As long as you can play fast and hard, you got a chance. And I don't think there's any doubt that third quarter was huge for our defense. We pretty much smothered them in the third quarter. We were in good shape, and guys were making plays, and our guys did a good job of pulling back on what we're doing and playing a little bit more base defense and keeping them in the right positions against all those formations. We won't see that many formations again in one game with all the movements that they had.
How important, Coach, is it to a head coach to get the quarterback decision right for what you guys want to do offensively?
Well, I'd hated to come in here and thing went the other way. I've been in here before when that's happened. And, you know, it's, you got to go by feel. And again, I let Eddie Grant and Darren Henshaw made that decision. You know, they went back and looked at all the scrimmages and all the practices that we had and just charted everything. And it was pretty easy once you looked at the amount of plays that Munchie had taken to Brandon. But Brandon could have started, and heck, he might could have thrown for 400 yards today. You'll never know. He might do it next week. But all I know is it's great to have two kids that enjoy playing, and they're cheerleaders for each other, and they're helping each other out. We have that continue. We're going to have something special on offense. We'll keep getting better and better.
Anything else, guys?
Just to clarify, you said before you won't go series by series with them. So once a guy starts, basically, as long as he's having a good day and the day is rolling right along, it's his.
Yeah, and you got to get in a rhythm. You can't give 2 or 3 series and, you know, think that you're going to get any kind of rhythm. And, you know, we could break this thing down and eventually, you know, one guy get it and not ever come out, you know. It could happen. But you know, we won't go that far in terms of, I want them to compete. I want them to know that, hey, they start on Tuesday every week and they go 3 days, and whoever had the best practices is going to get started. It'll be pretty simple.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.